Woo.
Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. Today we are going to talk about the real agenda. Gary's true agenda versus crypto is revealed. Ripple XRP. Chip, there's a ton of stuff that we're going to dig into. There's some sleuthing from Crypto Eddie, and we're going to dig into what that was all about. SEC insider trading. If we get to that video, that's going to be an interesting one. And Notorious, thanks for putting together the video that we're going to cover. That was up on Twitter. You guys probably saw it. There's a ton of stuff that we're going to dig into. Love starting with some community-driven content, Chip.
Absolutely, man. You ready to do this? Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Whoa.
Welcome On the Chain.
Welcome on the chain, everybody. Yeah, so let's start. Let's get
Big
this.
shout out to Crypto Eddie. Thank you very much. She's been on thousands of phone calls.
Thousands?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Wow.
I'm just reading her comment. I've been on the phone call with thousands of others. Apparently not thousands of phone calls, but on calls with thousands of others.
That's like 1,000 more than I've been on phone calls with, Jeff. Exactly 1,000 more. Maybe. Something along those lines.
All right. Martin Redwood. Just hope YouTubers are not in on the corrupt game. I hope so too, Martin. You know, we got to bring it to light, make sure everybody's being honest. And welcome back, Liz Taylor. We haven't seen you in a while. So, man.
Yeah, we're still looking for Hans loaded. Hans,
we're looking. If anybody knows where Hans is, please let him know that he's being looked for.
Yeah. So Stefan Huber tweeted this video out here, Jeff, which I want to get started with. It's he said, this is probably nothing. And then I'll give you John Deaton's comments after that. But here it is right here. We'll throw this video up here. Ooh. And Stefan Huber put this up and he said, it's probably nothing. This is the digital currencies, the emergency class. This was at a Yahoo Finance. Here we go.
I was going to say, do you think he's at a Yahoo thing?
That's Yahoo. Remember that? They had that.
I think we have an intraday chart, by the way, of Ethereum. Let's see if we can pop it up there. This is what I'm talking about. So you can see over there, that was after the comments by the SEC. So
wow. Really?
Interesting market action there, right? Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nascent
This
market.
is why insider trading is against the law, people. Okay? Right here. Okay?
News like this moves markets.
Right? So,
and they said it all, right, Jeff?
News there.
It's exactly why insider trading is against the law, because a comment, personal opinion stated at a conference. I mean, it's just incredible. It's like, well, it's a personal opinion, but look at that. I mean, let me throw that back up there again. Just look at that, Jeff.
Look at that growth.
That's what everybody looks like. That's the hockey stick. Bit. Right. So if you're listening on the podcast, it basically goes down, 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 and then basically straight up on a very steep angle. That'd be a very tough hill to climb if you were going to climb it. But it's incredible to see how that could potentially move it. And what I do is I don't have the tweet. I actually have the comments from John on this one. But he said SEC insider trading. Wow. Did you hear what he said? This is why insider trading is unlawful. Why would he say that related to Hinman's speech? And then notice the comment, news coming from the SEC. He didn't mention news coming from Hinman because it's all synonymous, right?
That's right. Hey, look at this nice comment here from Legendary. Is Jeff that huge? Because he makes that coffee cup look tiny.
Yeah, Jeff is actually, he's actually 10 foot tall.
Right.
That's actually a regular coffee cup.
This is actually one of those large cappuccino cups.
It's like a Yeti. A Yeti makes everything look tiny. If you have a giant Yeti, you like holding a regular coffee cup and it looks like a
little coffee cup. Yeah. Look at that.
That a kid would probably hold, something along those lines.
This is one of those cups from those kids' tea sets.
And then, of course, let's jump into this because Crypto Eddie, I mean, just masterful sleuthing, just really masterful sleuthing. And this is really why you just got to keep up with all of our videos. A lot of times people think, well, you're YouTubers in the space. You probably consume a lot of YouTube videos. Well, actually you don't. I only consume really, there's one person that I don't miss the videos. That's Crypto Eddie because they're just so awesome. And yeah, because it's just it's everything that I need. They're really well done. But look at this here. So this was tweeted out not too long ago. Facts. Hinman was managing partner of Sherman and Sterling San Francisco office. Sherman and Sterling was on Enterprise Ethereum Alliance legal industry working group, connecting the dots. Hinman brought Robert Evans from Sherman and Sterling to SEC as his deputy advisor in June of 2017. And it was Sherman and Sterling that wrote the XRP article 23 days before the speech. And here it is right here. So this is what's this, after a while, as they say, Jeff, there's coincidences and there's coincidences. And after a while,
there's no such thing as coincidences.
Is there anything such as a coincidence? Is it a coincidence I have to click on all cookies every single time?
You do.
So you look
Make
at this
sure you
here.
get some milk with it.
There it is. Ether and XRP faced heightened regulatory scrutiny over the past several months. Rapid growth of market interest in digital assets has invited significant regulatory attention. Now, this right here, that opening statement is a little much, Jeff. In 2018, where was this coming from? The Ether.
I'm thinking back, and that period of time was interesting, mainly because we had just experienced a huge boom, coming off of 2017, beginning of 18, and then we rode everything over the cliff, and that cliff was, pretty disastrous, but it was a fun time, regardless, to experience the swells,
384,
of the market at that period of time. And so, there was, massive rapid growth and interest during that period of time. And that's when, if you remember, all the media outlets were also starting to throw up, how do you buy XRP? They had a whole news segment on that. And, it was all about Bitcoin going to 20,000 and then, the pullback. Man, really, really cool. And that's also, we had the flippening of XRP and Ethereum during that period of time. But this idea of illegal security offerings, man.
Well, let's look at the dots here. Sam Ross, thank you for that. It says BTC and ETH equals corruption. Well, I think, Jeff, you and I are on the same page here. Look, I don't have put any fault into any organization trying to do the best for themselves as far as getting a leg up. I question the methodology of it. But again, there's so many connected dots right here, especially you come over here and you see that, you had, what's his name? Robert Evans, and Robert Evans goes ahead and pens this piece over here about there's a lot of heat coming down, this is back in 2018. And what's interesting as well, Jeff, is if we end up seeing what those emails that were passed around with the Hinman speech. There's so many people on it. I saw James Rule tweet something out. I saw somebody else tweet something out with all the names, where they were, and they're attempting this attorney-client privilege. Well, there's a lot of people on there that aren't attorneys. So that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense either. I mean, this idea of the attorney-client privilege when, there, was this, and they're trying to hide Hinman's emails, behind some firewall. Or the speech behind some firewall. That it's so irrelevant. They're grasping at straws at this point. Sometimes when we look at the legal system from outside, and that's why you sit down and you have a conversation with an attorney and you're like, why is the legal system so many times so corrupted? And we see how it can be, they're always trying to manipulate it or massage
Really,
the legal
Jeff?
aspect,
doing that?
to fit the narrative, for their clients, but as long as it's done within the framework of the law. But the thing is that many times, they're just grasping and, going back to the beginning of the SEC v. Ripple case, how much, garbage did we see thrown out? I sat down, I talked to a friend of mine, who's an attorney and he'd done some stuff in federal court and, and I said, there's so much fluff in this case, it just doesn't make sense. And he said, well, if you add fluff to a regular court case, the judge is going to, look at you and maybe even, throw you out of the court. You're not going to make friends with the judge. But in this federal environment, they're just throwing everything at it. They try to make it as long as possible and see what's going to stick, and now, it continues, but all this garbage that's been going on, within the SEC. It's gone on a little bit too long, and Crypto Eddie really, brought up, some key point here. She said this proves Hinman was used 100%, and so we look at it and you say, when Hinman went into this, did he have some nefarious intent, when he was discussing this, or was he discussing it because he, wanted to just reference the whole space? And what are they hiding?
Or
why are they trying to redact maybe his statements on XRP, or other things? What is actually going on? Because this is all after the fact, right? They weren't really trying to hide things then. They're trying to hide things now.
All right. So my question is this, Joe. Oh, absolutely. My question is this. You remember how we, Lubin was telling people how whales could secretly, anonymously purchase ETH. I wonder if one of those whales, and I wonder if one of those buyers was Bill Hinman or was some other folks, because if you're a government official, you should be full transparency. You should be, when you have to file your tax returns, you have disclosures on other areas as far as stocks are concerned. But when we talk about regulation, it's funny how officials don't have to, there's nothing as far as digital assets are concerned. But if we start digging a little bit deeper, this is going to look a really bad look if we find out that William Hinman actually had some pretty strong holdings. And I want to go back to this foreshadowing here.
Or maybe people around him.
Yeah, anybody. Well, that's exactly right. Or family members. It might not have been him.
It might not have been him. It might be some of the entities that surrounded the ideas. But think about this notion. We brought this up in the beginning, the idea of insider trading, right? But why is it that we see our government officials aren't subjected to the same laws in terms of those in Congress?
Because that's how it works, Jeff. The serfs and the paupers get poorer, and the government officials all of a sudden get rich. But look at this. Former Commodity Future Trading Commission chairman, remember, he was the former CFTC chair, Gary Gensler, recently sent waves to the industry when he raised the idea that Ether and XRP may be operating as non-compliant securities. So, yeah, all of this stuff was basically bantered and floated around, right? It's all just, put out there.
Did Gary Gensler actually bring that up? Did he make statements when he was with the CFTC?
No, he did. Yes, he did with the CFTC.
And he referenced Ethereum and XRP at the time based on that statement. Yeah, what year was that?
Well, he was the former CFTC chair when he made that. He was already out of office in 2018, right. But he served in the Obama administration. So he was the CFTC chair then. But being a former chair, raising the idea that XRP and ETH are non-compliant securities. So there you go right there. And I wanted to... And
he said they may be.
Right.
He didn't say that they are. He said they may be, whereas now he's really determined to say that they are. And he, based on how obvious everything is. So at that point, it was maybe. It still could be maybe, but we all know that it isn't. But in his mind, everything is.
Well, Jeff, look at this. But let's go back. I mean, we could say that ETH in its inception was not decentralized. We could say a lot of things had a pseudo IPO or ICO, I should say, an ICO. And if that was the case, yeah, you could say, but I think everybody would agree that today's ETH, today's XRP is decentralized. And to the extent, by comparison, if you look at XRP versus ETH, you're going to find out that it's actually even more decentralized. So this is the onus. This is why I say the onus is on the SEC. Good luck going and improving that XRP is a security with the 4 prongs, not the one that Gary likes to talk about. The 4 prongs of the Howey test. It's going to fail miserably, and then also there's the fair notice.
And he talks about one, and it's really Chip, it amazes me, and Michael Attu is bringing this up here, and it's not just YouTube, but it's, those within, we see a lot in the Twitter space and others, but he's saying, if it wasn't for YouTube content creators, they would have gotten away with all this fraud. Thank you guys for all this help. But think about this idea that, a couple of years ago, the government officials would get away with a lot. We've seen a lot of fraud, corruption, deception, and we're within, multiple administrations, within the government officials in terms of how they manipulated the media, manipulated, the overall messaging. We saw how they manipulated Twitter, and it's all coming to light. But it's amazing to me to see the sheer numbers of people that have come out, individuals, regular people that have come out and started to pull up data and investigate. So typically, think about what it would take for an attorney or a government official to start digging through and scrubbing through emails, or anything that's to the public purview. Think about video appearances or appearances that were recorded on video or audio or what have you. They don't have the bandwidth, and it's almost impossible. It'd take years and years and years probably for them to dig through if they have a small a staff of attorneys or whatever, and they don't even know what they'd be looking for. And so here we have all these internet sleuths, that are passionate about crypto and digging, right, constantly through all this information.
That's right.
And finding things. Some of it might just be innocuous and just be nothing, but at the same time, bring it all to light, let us see everything. And so, Chip, we've seen how this is reverberated now within the community and at large within the political echelon. They're feeling the pain. Gary, you think a previous chair would have received such negative feedback from everybody, and not just within crypto, but Gensler is he's hated by all across the board, equally. But I would say before Gary Gensler, nobody knew who the chair of the SEC was.
Nobody cared.
Even like with Hinman and Clayton before them, did anyone really think about, from a public perspective, who was in charge of the CFTC or the SEC, unless you were politically, inclined, to say, hey, who's the administration appointing? But now people are passionate, Chip, and investigating and calling them out for their bullshit.
Yeah, but Jeff, I mean, the thing about it is like everybody's very concerned about a particular world issue. And they're like, well, that's in another continent, in another country, another city. That's too bad. But, hey, let me go grab my coffee from Starbucks. Until it's happening in your backyard, everyone's like, well, then it's a little. Then we have this is a really right on point here from CryptoEd. He says, we've been focusing on Simpson Thatcher. It really is Sherman and Sterling. And thank you for uncovering that, because absolutely spot on. And if we look at this other tweet, and seeking proof, Hinman knew that his his monies were paid for by the EEA member. Hinman had to know his former firm, Sherman and Sterling, was on the Ethereum Alliance legal industry working group. Of course he had to know. I mean, of course, Jeff. In fact, Robert Evans was from Sherman and Sherman and there's too many S's in this, Jeff. Sherman and Seaman
or Williams. Williams
from SNS. No, I don't know. The Sherman and Sterling. So from Sherman and Sterling joined Hinman as his SEC director, is deputy director. And then, you have this right here. Here's some, pull out quotes. There it says right there, this was immediate release. Robert Evans III named deputy director in the SEC's Division of Corporate Finance. Named by who? Who is he recommended by? That's right, one William Hinman. And William Hinman also, this is part of his, most recently, Mr. Evans worked at Sherman and Sterling LLP as a partner in the firm's capital markets practice. Yeah, man, there's a lot of fishy stuff going on here. Here you've got the Ethereum Enterprise Ethereum Alliance Legal Industry Working Group press release, and this is from August 14th of 2017. Talks about that today they announced that 14 leading law firms and academic institutions have joined the EEA's Legal Industry Working Group. And who is one of them? Well, not other familiar names like Cooley or Perkins Coie or DeVois and Plimpton, all these big names that we recognize, but also there it is, Sherman and Sterling were part of that working group. You have BNY Mellon. You had Consensus, of course. You got Bill Lubin over there, ING. But again, they were part of that. Interesting, right? All those big names, and then you've got Sherman and Sterling. So, yeah, this is some amazing sleuthing by Crypto Eddie, man. This is what I love, and it's one of the reasons that we highlight what's going on in the community. And I would take that a step further. I think a lot of the YouTube content creators, but I also credit heavily digital asset investor, TAG out there, TIG, Crypto Eddie. Of course, you have to go with the superhero John E. Deaton as well. But again, you see this camaraderie happening out there where everyone's trying to find something and we're piecing stuff together. Look, man, based on what we think is going to happen and the red tsunami that's coming in November, somebody's bottom side is going to get very uncomfortable sitting on a hardwood chair inside those hearings. One other than Daddy G, Chair Gensler from the SEC, Jeff.
Oh yeah, it's amazing because we're starting to see the beginning of what's coming, and it's going to be an impending doom, for many that have been in the corrupted side of things. And we saw, in 4 years from 16 to 20, we did see an amazing amount of deception and corruption within our government, our government elected and appointed and employed officials that went across the spectrum. We don't have to single out a political party because it was across the spectrum. And all of that is coming to light right now. I think they're all running, hoping to salvage this. Unfortunately, when you trap an animal, a dangerous animal in a corner,
Any animal.
any animal, they do lash out. They're going to try to protect themselves at all cost. And sometimes there's collateral damage. You might get bit, you might get scratched. And unfortunately, when we're talking about that from a national level, nation states, when they lash out, that bite can hurt. The people that get hurt are going to be the people on the street. It's not going to be, at first, but then when the hammer comes down, they can lash out as much as they want. Now they're trapped. They realize it, and it's crazy, right? Because and I'm looking at some of the commentary here. So here's one from Legendary. They lit a fire under the wrong group. So when we focus just right now on the crypto space, but the problem and the issues are so much larger than that. It's not just Gary Gensler again, regarding crypto. It's not just Hinman and crypto. It's not Clayton and crypto. There was a much larger issue at stake. And when you think about it, you think about what they're trying to do in terms of, passing these rules of, having to be an accredited investor to benefit at all in your investments, right? And then we look at some of these, the players and what they've gained out of it. Or I went back to read an article about Biden, right? Biden has been employed by the government, by the people, since he was 29 years old. 29 years old. He was elected as a senator back in 29. At the age of 29, not 1929, but maybe it was 1929. But think about, how is it that he's so wealthy at this point, since his entire existence, his entire career was in government as an elected official, but somehow he's worth millions, right?
Well,
Think
Jeff,
about that. Think about it.
But that's kind of what goes with the territory. And I think it's almost, Jeff, I love the fact that you put this comment up there. Jeff said, I love all.
Oh yeah, that was my next. Yeah, I was typing
different Jeff.
Crazy fast. But that's a good one, Chip. What do you think about that? First, the impact of SEC v. Library right now. Is the SEC waiting? And do you think, some conversation between the attorneys, or are the Ripple attorneys also, kind of seen? Are they just both playing their own sides?
Yeah, my personal opinion is there's not any corroboration between attorneys. I think they're both following it, but it's also very interesting in the Library case when they brought up the fair notice, there was no, let's delay the heck out of this. It almost seems like the SEC is attempting to use the Library case if they can get a favorable ruling in that case. Again, it's in a different court. It's not the Southern District in New York. I believe it's in Connecticut. Got a different judge involved in it. So if they get something, they're gonna want to use that in the Ripple case. So against Ripple, but I don't think it really matters, because I think on its own merit, that works for some things, but not in an area where it's so cloudy and nobody really gets it or understands it from that perspective. So I think we just have to watch and see. But again, the Library one, what I love about Library and Jeremy Kaufman is he is not taking it sitting down. He is standing up. He's fighting back, much the same way others have fought the SEC. We have Elon Musk, who fought the SEC. We played that video clip of him not too long ago where he talked about he was basically strong-armed into a decision that he didn't really want to pull the trigger on. But if he didn't, he would lose all his funding. So, and then you also have Mark Cuban, another one who battled the SEC. And the thing about it is don't think because it's a government organization, it's on the up and up. It's not always on the up and up. And they also have this level of privilege. I'll call it SEC or government privilege, where they just stroll in there and they think, well, we're the SEC. Well, listen, you've been compelled, 4 or 5 times to turn over and well, we're not going to do that right now. And they keep putting up another roadblock. Look, at sometimes your karma points run out and it's not so good for you. And I thought we should check this out here, Jeff.
It's a shame that
this video, because Notorious did a phenomenal job on this. This is Max Kaiser, who edited together with Jon Stewart, who hosts a show called The Problem when he had Gary Gensler on it. Beautifully done. Well done, Notorious. I don't see him here today, but I'm sure.
Notorious.
A big shout out to Notorious. But let's watch this. This is masterfully done. This how we cut these two together.
It's a shame that Gary Gensler is such an obviously he is a regulator who's in the pocket of Wall Street, who considers Bitcoin to be a threat. There's absolutely no question about this. The Gary Gensler is corrupt. He just talked to Jon Stewart in an interview on Jon Stewart's.
Is the SEC the best system to do this?
I think the American public kind of gets it, that the system is not fully working for them.
And Jon Stewart took Gary Gensler apart, shred by shred, and proved and showed to him in no uncertain terms that he was one of the worst and most corrupt public officials in America.
Apes exposed something really interesting. They crowdsourced a way of rooting out corruption. They found things in the system that didn't seem right, like the information that they were getting was 2 weeks old, that they weren't being told that these 140% shorts totaled that 140%. They knew there was a short, but they didn't get that information until later, and they didn't get the information to the extent of it. And doesn't that show that disclosure and transparency?
And Gary Gensler had nothing to say to defend himself because he's disgusting. But
there are real challenges. There are real challenges. Complexity helps them.
Give me a better system. Give me a better system to do this than the one we have in place. Because the one we have in place is getting its butt kicked.
It doesn't matter. It would be great to give Americans a chance to participate in Bitcoin, but if Gary Gensler wants Americans to be poor, uneducated, living in the gutter, and being killed by the ravages of inflation, that's up to Gary Gensler. He's got blood on his hands. Gary, you schmuck.
Gary.
Gary, you schmuck.
I believe in this system, John.
Oh my God.
I live within the system I'm in.
Dream, man, dream.
I'll dream, but I also want to get things done.
With all the financial shenanigans that have gone over the years, the only person we've really brought to heel is Martha Stewart. And that's got to tell you something about just how tilted this thing is.
I've forgotten a little bit about Bernie Madoff, but.
Well, speaking of Bernie Madoff,
Well, Jeff, this is the biggest failure of a government agency in the history of the world, not just the United States. They had a whistleblower for 7 years blowing the whistle, talking about what's happening over there, and they ignored it. And who got hurt? That's right. The first bullet point of their mission statement is protect the investor.
Protect the investor, protect the people. Nope.
So
they failed. Well, that's because now they're the pillar of enforcement, but they've never thought about the people, Chip.
If we're going to ball Bernie Madoff, but this is great.
Well, speaking of Bernie Madoff, who came up with payment for order flow?
Gary, you schmuck.
Yeah.
Right.
This agency has to be willing to go into court and, take some losses from time to time. But go into court.
Right.
I think all of those things, but it's trying to use high-profile cases to bring folks back on the right side of the line. And also, I would say, a focus on gatekeepers, the accountants, the lawyers, the underwriters, and so forth. that sends a signal across the market too.
Take out the little guys.
No. The gatekeepers,
Yeah.
the gatekeepers, John.
You know, you should just resign and give the world the benefit of not having you have a public office. You're a gross, disgusting human.
So, dude, it's reverberating.
Yeah.
You look at some of the things. He has such animosity towards the people. You know, he's such a typical, government employee. Here's what disgusts me about government employees is that they're in a cush position, right? So think about the rest of the world, right? Where you don't have a cush job, right? You can be fired. You have responsibilities. If you don't pull your weight, then you're let go. In a government scenario, if you don't pull your weight, then they give you a promotion. You're rewarded. And at the end of the day, when you retire with your 25 years or 30 years, you're on a pension. How insane is that? That these government employees are making millions of dollars off of us, right? We're the ones that support them. And then what do they do when they're they're looking at us? Oh, we're there to protect you. We're there to help you. No, you're employed in a government agency based on our tax dollars that we put in there based on our hard work. Then what do they say? The working people. We got to help the working people. That's why, because in the government, they don't work. It's insane. He's another example of someone who's made his career at this point, but he had a career before getting into government, but now he's in that government position, still will get a pension. He'll still get money from the taxpayers. He should get zero. At this point, if you screw up, you lose everything. It's kind of like the golden parachute with the CEOs. At what point did a CEO become, so, critical to the end result that when a company's failing, they still have their golden parachute, like they're an athlete, right? If an athlete fails, the team, they're still getting their payment, but then maybe they'll move them on somewhere else. What do we do with government employees? Can we move them on somewhere else? Maybe we can, send them over to Europe or something. It's like, hey, if you fail here, just kind of like, basketball players, it's like, hey, we're going to send you to the European League. Yeah, or maybe the Canadian League. That would be nice to do. Hey, Gary, you've kind of failed here. We're sending you to the Canadian League.
Well, how about this? When in a football, if you say a football coach, right, they get fired. It's like, wait a minute, he wasn't on the field playing, but apparently he didn't inspire his players enough to go either on the pitch if you're dealing with traditional football or American football on the field. And like, well, I know, I'm sorry about that $7 million salary you're getting every year, and you had a guaranteed salary. Sorry, you're gone. And that's how we'll just wash it off. Just get somebody else new to come here. Same players, same team the next that shows up on the pitch or the field the next time. And that's kind of how it goes, Jeff. And I thought I would pull this up here. This was a good one from Devon Steve. He says, Jeff raises a good point about government employees. It should not be what goes with the territory. There has to be some sort of dealing going on. Either way, it means his job has come second place. That's a good one, Devon Steve. Appreciate that comment.
Yeah. Hey, Chip, there was a comment. I've got it here. I cropped. I don't remember which video it's from, but Ken Cohen had commented regarding this whole thing with the way the SEC's been managing their case and et cetera. But his comment here was, imagine being challenged to a fight, and when you step into the ring, they tell the ref that they need to go to a gym to train. That's the incompetence of the SEC. It's like, hey, we're calling the fight. We're bringing you to the ring. And when, now that they're, judge, hey, or ref, hey, you know what? We realize that we probably need to train before this fight. So can we delay maybe another month or year or 5 years?
And delay the same reason over and over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, pretty much like that. But somebody brought up the library case. Jeremy Hogan said, if you hold XRP, pay attention to the SEC v. library case, which involves many of the same issues as the Ripple case, and will be decided first. The summary judgment from the SEC is its template and continues its strategy of downplaying the uniqueness of blockchain projects. And there you go, blah, 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 blah. Then he goes on to say that the library/Ripple cases will hinge on the ability of the judges to understand that the issuance of tokens operating on decentralized ledger is not just another way of raising funds and does not implicate the disclosure requirements underpinning the reasoning behind securities laws. So well done, Jeremy Hogan.
Oh, this is funny.
Jamie Hogan.
So, in terms of sending Gary Gensler packing, so Jim drop him on the Chinese as a WMD economic bomb. That's Michael Atu said, don't send him over here. We've got enough people like Prince Andrew. And then I like this. Legendary said, that's how the government works. You get promoted to the level of your incompetence. And then Kevin English was saying, on all Canadians' behalf, we respectively decline to have him here.
And there you go. Adalia Velez says OPM does not work that way. I'm guessing that's other people's money.
Right.
OPM, other people's money does not work like that. So there you go. There you go. And there's Butenland Zizak and says XRP. So yeah, it is rather interesting, Jeff, where we're at. And one of the things that there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And I think the venture capital involvement with a lot of these projects has put a lot of pressure for results. And in something that you put in the keep, I think this is really a good highlight of this. But we had this here happen, Jeff, the Bored Ape Yacht Club metaverse sale.
Man, yeah, check that out.
Such a mess that it tanked the price of the Bored Ape NFTs by 25%. If you have a $3 million Bored Ape NFT and that drops 25%, it's pretty significant, Jeff.
That's pretty massive. So you wonder
$750,000. Whoa.
What was botched so poorly that it disrupts the whole the whole ecosystem. It's kind of crazy. Then you wonder, what is that true value then of those NFTs? What is it really based on at that point? Where was everybody waiting for this rollout? Was it significant? Was there some sort of anticipation? And now they botch it, and so yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Well, here we go. So look at the amount of money that's raised. So back in March, third week of March, they raised $450 million in a seed investment. And look at some of the players in this here. Let me look if you can. So we've got Andreessen Horowitz at the top, Animoca Brands, Sandbox, Lion Tree Sound Ventures, Thrive Capital, FTX, MoonPay, all involved there. You also have other well-known investors like Google Ventures, Adidas, Snoop Dogg, Mark Cuban, Steve Aoki, DJ, Tiger Global. So it's incredible. Timbaland, artist, Des Bryant, Time Ventures, Samsung. So you have $450 million raised, and then they go ahead and they raise another $320 million selling these deeds to a virtual metaverse that doesn't actually exist yet. So what ended up happening was the Ethereum blockchain became so congested with the transaction, it was unusable for hours. They couldn't even use it. And so you have users who were basically spending these incredible amounts in fees, and even though their transactions failed. So you had a failed transaction and you pay this ridiculous fee. And Yuga Labs, who's behind the Bored Ape Yacht Club project, said that they would refund any users that were impacted. But obviously, a ton of criticism, and there's absolutely a financial impact in this. And we talked about the basic price of a Bored Ape NFT sank over 25%. Good if you're buying, though. I expect it to go back up. The volume for NFT sales was down 37%. According to crypto NFT ranking site CryptoSlam. And then you had they hit a record high. Yeah, the price of a Bored Ape NFT hit a record high, costing a minimum about $434,000 USD. Huge milestone. Since a year ago when they launched, they were selling for $200 each. Now imagine you sell it for $200 each and you resold that for $400,000. You bought 10 of them.
That's insane. Hey, Dirk van de Gehooch, probably butchered his name. I just had to type that in. He said, are there any Dutch-speaking guests here? I'm assuming if you can read that, then you know what he said. But for those that
no, but I have a lot of Dutch art in my house. So we'll say that.
There are
it's in Dutch.
Dutch-speaking guests here. There are some Dutch-speaking guests within the OTC community. So
absolutely,
they're out there someplace. And then Jay Lee is a brand new sub to the channel. So brand new here.
Thank you, Jay Lee.
Comment with that. That's awesome.
Appreciate that. It's awesome. Yeah, you guys can join the channel. And something new that they just rolled out that Jeff and I were completely unaware of. But if you're watching this in the rewatch, if you're on mobile, you have to scroll that like and that button over there. But there's something called it's called a thanks. So it's like a super chat, but on a rewatch. So you can, if you wanted to, you can say, hey, here's $1. We love what you guys are doing. But Jeff and I were unaware of that. So we just added that to the channel because really about 75% plus views come from not the live stream, but after. So we also appreciate everybody watching right now on the rewatch. So he's from Belgium. There you go.
Hey, Dirk's over in Belgium. Man, there's that brewery over there, Delirium. And if you go to the Delirium bar,
Delirium.
man, Delirium's got the pink elephant.
Yeah.
And then you go over to the Delirium bar, man, that place, you go in there and they've got like 2,000 beers in there, behind there. And they bring you out like this encyclopedia and you open it up and you sort through it. And then you can find, it's really cool.
Yeah. So that's all we have today, Jeff. I mean, we went through a lot, and of course, too, you guys can also go sign up for an email. You'll get an email every time we after we stream. If you missed it, or you'll know where to watch us, either on YouTube or any one of the podcast platforms, Google, Apple, Spotify. We're everywhere, so you can always take us with us. And we've seen a pretty good, nice surge. Thank you to everybody who's been listening to us on not only Spotify but Apple and Google. So we thank you for that as well.
And we've been streaming, not every single one, but we have been streaming over on Rumble as well. For anyone that wants to check out Rumble and see what's going on over there, you can check that out. Little by little, it can grow. But anyhow, yeah, it's amazing. Appreciate all of you guys. You guys are outstanding. We have by far the best and the smartest in all of the crypto space come here and gather. So you guys are amazing, and thank you for all of that.
I just dropped the link in the chat, but it's also down below in the comments, different ways to support the channel if you like what you see. And if you don't, let us know in the comments. We read them all. So good, bad, indifferent. We love the feedback. And you can join the OTC family, throw your email in there and your name. Don't worry, we don't. We're fully compliant. You guys know if you watch us long enough, you know that we're not into, we're into protecting privacy. So that's one of the key things. But again, you can go ahead and do that. And as I said, here's the last one right here, so you can see. You also get this in an email form. This goes out after every show. You can listen to where you can listen to the show. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all these different places. So you can listen to us. If you're ever wondering where can I watch, you can watch here. And then there's all the links to the articles. This is the last show we did, so you can see all of the stuff that we talk about.
And we are trying to carve these up also, and carve these up into little, short 10-minute clips. So we've been feeding those out there. The last one was a little bit delayed in posting, but but
it happens, man. You get busy, Jeff,
for some reason. But anyhow, we'll keep those going, and look forward to seeing you guys back on tomorrow night, Sunday,
all day Sunday. Guys, Chip and Jeff out. We'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of your weekend. Chip and Jeff out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.